everybody, here is ReDICo's team. Yesterday, November 26, 2020, was the conference of the International Association of Language and Intercultural Communication. We were glad we could present our project there as it gives an overview of ReDICo. Roman.
We have heard a number of papers during the conference that reflect various ideas regarding intercultural communication, which have been very inspiring. We are glad to be members of IALIC. And here we go with a presentation of our ideas and our project. Milene.
Hi, everyone. I'll start by sharing my screen. All right. So my name is Milene. And my colleague Fergal is 258 kilometers away from me, but it feels closer. Hi, Fergal, what's up?
Hi, Milene. So we've gone from Jena to Mainz to Potsdam and now back to Jena with myself. Okay, so the world is in flux. This is nothing new, as globalization and digitalization are worldwide and long-term phenomena. Anyone who observes events in the world's societies with a reasonable degree of attention will see that our world is increasingly volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Ubiquitous interculturality and digitalization contribute to this. As a result, we see, on the one hand, great uncertainty among many people, which is often answered by oversimplification and polarization, also in digital worlds. On the other hand, however, we may also observe new opportunities for networking and hybridization, which offer an appreciated chance for a positive cosmopolitanization. And we are, of course, engaging with this at the very moment. So, do we dare to lift the veil and take a look at this new world from the perspective of intercultural communication? What do you think, Milene? Do we?
Well, I think so, Fergal. Our brand new project network, ReDICo, Researching Digital Interculturality Cooperatively, has been funded by the German Federal Ministry of Education and Research for less than 4 weeks now. Well, ReDICo has 4 core members, Fergal and I, who are presenting, and also Luisa and Roman, whom you have met already. Fergal and Luisa, are at the University of Jena, and Fergal looks at intercultural communication from the perspective of cultural studies, and Luisa from the perspective of intercultural education. Roman is at the University of Mainz and adopts the perspective of social science, and I am a linguist at the University of Potsdam. ReDICo examines intercultural practices and discourses from various perspectives. So how these discourses intertwine and what effects they have on the non-digital world. And of course, we ask ourselves whether our discipline, intercultural communication, has sufficiently taken on the challenge to respond to the difficulties and problems of a changing world.
We would like to approach this question from the perspective of German intercultural communication scholarship. Several orientations can be found within the German theoretical landscape. For example, an orientation through the lens of linguistics and language learning, through management, but there's also an orientation that looks towards cultural studies, cultural anthropology, and cultural theory. In Jena, the university from which ReDICo is coordinated, there is a combination of cultural theory, cultural anthropology, and management, including a strong orientation towards intercultural coaching. Jürgen Bolton has been engaging in intercultural communication scholarship in Jena since 1992 and is, we would contend, one of the leading German intercultural theorists. Within German language intercultural studies, cultures have generally been viewed as the process-oriented negotiation of life world norms marked by plurality. Culturality, Kulturalität, is seen by Jürgen Bolton thus as familiar multiplicity, the range of collectives and generalizations with which one is deeply familiar. Interculturality, Interkulturalität, is then seen as a theoretical term denoting a situation in which the supposed commonality of culture is lacking. Thus, for Bolton, interculturality is represented by increased uncertainty and ambiguity and may be viewed as unfamiliar multiplicity. Life worlds have become increasingly intertwined with digital communication and have magnified significantly, while the intersection of open-ended life worlds has accelerated. We suggest thus the term digital interculturality for this expansion and see this as the ubiquitous, familiar and unfamiliar multiplicity of everyday life, symbolized of course by the smartphone, in which agents may exist within a vast multiplicity of intercultural communication streams. But there are, of course, also important non-German discourses on interculturality. Zhu Huai sees intercultural communication as the interplay of various discourse systems based on a variety of fluid categories such as gender, age, profession, religion, or ethnicity, while she believes that intercultural communication could and should be studied as a series of social interactions mediated by a range of forces and subjectivities such as ideologies, societal structures, power imbalances, among other things. Digital interculturality may thus be seen as the hyper-extension of discourse systems and potential social interactions, connecting spaces and agents geographically worlds apart, intermingling further the digital and material worlds. We argue this, of course, while also realizing that many people are excluded in the globe from internet usage, and that this exclusion is also one of the major questions in the study of internet and society. Okay, so we would like to discuss, firstly, an extremely non-benign example of digital interculturality. On the 9th of October 2019, a gunman attacked the synagogue in the town of Halle in Saxony-Anhalt in Germany. While he failed to enter the building, he murdered a passerby and a person in a nearby kebab shop. The Halle murderer streamed his actions live on the video platform Twitch, which is owned by Amazon, in German accented English, apparently laughingly calling himself a loser a number of times because of his bumbling. So what does this have to do with us? 5 people watched his murderous deeds live, 2,200 people watched it in the 30 minutes before it was blocked, while at least 10 white supremacist channels, largely from the United States, posted the clip of his murders on Telegram. The Halle murderer was clued into a type of white supremacist thinking, drawn from online contexts he had earlier engaged with, which gave him a sense of community and meaning and propelled his actions, and made him look to mediate his murderous deeds as a communicative act with an international alt-right, far-right community. He may be a psychopath, indeed he probably is, but this is not our interest. However, our interest here is his connection within an international online community of white racists, his actual interest in other national cultures, at least, albeit similar to his own, his use of English as a lingua franca, and the fact that he cannot actually be seen as an Einzeltäter or a lone wolf, as his actions were integrated with and communicated to international online communities. Thus, his online intercultural communication propels his murderous actions, and his murderous actions actually become a form of online far-right intercultural communication. He proves that you do also have the most extremely non-benign intercultural communication streams as part of the online hyper-extension of discourse systems and potential actions, and indeed that the alt-right, although deeply racist, also engage actually in a type of extremely warped digital cosmopolitanism.
Well, another maybe lighter example comes from the field of language learning. When I learned English in Brazil from a Brazilian teacher in a traditional school in my hometown, we used to imitate American English pronunciation the whole time and also have numerous lessons on Thanksgiving or the celebrations of the 4th of July. Back then, as I later learned, the whole of second language acquisition research was based on the idea that learners of English as a foreign language have and must have as their ultimate goal to speak like a native, with a native standing for a native speaker of British or American English exclusively. Nowadays, frameworks such as English as a lingua franca or world Englishes find a much better space in pedagogies that see English not a possession of the US or Great Britain anymore, but as an enabler of intercultural communication, and also in its combination with multilingualism, of course. In this example on the slide, you can see the profile of a Mexican teacher of Spanish and English in a platform where learners of several foreign languages can book and attend online classes. Thus, interculturality is not the ultimate and almost unattainable goal of language learning anymore, but is already part of the process, which is magnified in the digital world. So to conclude, if intercultural communication scholarship truly wants to understand culturality and interculturality today, it must at least partially reorient itself towards examining the intercultural communication streams of digital interculturality. This would necessitate a more thorough coming together of the interdisciplinary field of internet studies and intercultural communication, and will definitely require explorative methodological innovation. At ReDICo, we will be working on 4 empirical co-op studies, which will build on this combination. In the course of 4 years, we hope to generate results that will shed light on theoretical matters addressed in this presentation. Here are our references. As a last note, we'd like to mention quickly that we are planning a digital space for scientific network around the topic of digital interculturality at Local Campus, which is a platform based at the University of Jena. And we welcome everyone who is interested in digital interculturality to take a look. All right. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Stay in touch. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.